Well, my system clock just turned over to 2:05. Why don't we go ahead and get started here? Thanks again, everyone, for being a part of today's session. I'm going to turn it over to our hostess here, Jennifer Roberts. Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody, and I want to thank everybody for giving us some of your time today for our first and hopefully annual Velo and Vines webinar and our 6th Velo and Vines event, and the first time it is virtual. I want to start off by thanking our sponsors that are participating today. I want to thank Zealous and Yousef and Jarrett Tedlecka with TRPN and Charles from Raleigh and Adam de Vos from Raleigh Cycling. So thank you very much. I'm going to share the agenda with you, and then we'll start passing along to other people. So we're going to start out with an introduction by Scott Otto about UHCCF and sharing a grant recipient story. From there, we will have our sponsors, TRPN and Zealous, talk about their sponsorship and their commitment to UHCCF and their commitment to giving and why they do what they do. And then after that, they'll turn it back over to me, and I'll give a brief history of Velo and Vines and let you guys know what you'll be experiencing for our first virtual Velo and Vines here on November the 14th. And then after that, Charles Aaron from Raleigh Cycling will be hopping on and discussing about Raleigh and introducing Adam de Vos, who is our pro with us today. And after that, we'll wrap it up with a moment of gratitude. So thank you very much. Welcome, and I'm going to pass it on to Scott Otto.
Hey, thanks, Jennifer. It is truly a privilege to be here today with everybody on the call. Excited to share with you a little bit about UHCCF and as we look ahead to the Velo and Vines event coming up. Just as a quick introduction, UHCCF has been around since really 2007 in its current form. We provide medical grants to children throughout the country, regardless of if they have United Healthcare coverage or not. We aim to serve those families that have healthcare needs that are not covered or not fully covered by their health insurance plan. We've given, just here coming up on 25,000 grants. We'll actually hit that milestone here next month. We're excited to be celebrating the number of lives that we've been able to impact with UHCCF grants. In total value, we're eclipsing the $54 million mark over that period of time as well. We've impacted the lives of children from coast to coast, from small hurdles in their health care to more catastrophic situations. But really to help bring it home, I'd like to take just a moment and give you a glimpse into the life of one of our grant recipients. So Parouge, would you tee up the video here of Kaylin from Rexburg, Idaho, one of our recent grant ambassadors who has been impacted through a grant, and give us just a moment of insight into her life.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. I wear hearing aids. When I was young, I had cancer and the chemotherapy damaged my hearing.
The UHCCF grant was just amazing for our family. It just opened her world to so many new things, and she was able to just blossom.
When we were looking for ways to buy Kaylin new hearing aids, at the time she had Costco hearing aids because that's what we could afford at the time. We heard about the grant and applied and were accepted. It just was such a weight off my chest to know that someone cared about our family enough to provide that financial assistance to help us.
When I got the Resound hearing aids, I realized that I could hear everything so much more clearly. I could hear people talking without having to directly face them. I was able to have much more control over my hearing because there was a lot of settings I could adjust to it. Probably one of the best parts was the added ability to stream from my phone. I know how Gen Z that sounds, but I loved being able to listen to music whenever I wanted. Recently, we got another grant for the new Phonak hearing aids. They've been a real blessing. It's been really amazing. Just this last Sunday, I was at a training for work, and I realized I could hear people across the room talking. It was so weird. Growing up, I was always kind of afraid of not being able to do a lot of things, especially since I have a lot of scars and scar tissue. I thought that it would affect my physical limitations. Now I do Taekwondo. I recently got my black belt. It's It's been really cool because I've seen myself push myself. I've also been able to just learn more about myself because I'm able to be more in connection with the world because I can hear. I'm going to be a senior in high school this next year. I'm really excited because ever since around kindergarten, I've always wanted to be a vet, and I feel like my dreams are coming closer and closer the older I get because I already have it planned out. I know what college I want to go to, I know what vet school I want to go to.
She's always wanted to be a vet ever since she was in kindergarten. I have to say I was a little bit doubtful just because of her limitations that she had. But with the wonderful grant from UHCCF and being able to get these amazing hearing aids that have helped her be able to hear in the range that she can't physically hear, I see no limits for her in her future.
When she decided to join Taekwondo, we thought, okay, this is interesting. Let's see how it works. This timid girl's gonna go take down assailants. But she flourished and grew. She's very confident and very sure of her future and her abilities, which I don't think would be there without the hearing aids that she's been granted.
If I were to say something to a kid with either my same disability or similar or maybe completely different, I would really say don't let it define you. You're so much more than just a disability. You can't let people title you because you decide who you are, not the doctors, not your peers. You decide who you are.
Visit us online, uhccf.org, call us on Facebook for other ways to get involved. One of the things we'll showcase here a little bit later in the call is part of our holiday promotion, and that specifically is an online auction where we've got some wonderful items for just about everybody. But part of that is a jumbo Oliver teddy bear that's been wrapped in a theme here by a couple of our sponsors on the call today as a way to generate funds and give back to kids. So with that, Jennifer, I'll hand the ball back to you.
Thank you very much, Scott, for sharing all the amazing things the foundation does for our community and for the children and all the different ways that we can participate. For me, it's been such a wonderful way to find joy, not only for here at work, but also I've been able to take that home and bring that into my home as well. So for those on the call that would like to participate, it's been a really joyful experience for me. With that, I'd like to introduce our next and founding sponsor, Jarrett Jedlecka, the CEO of TRPN, who is going to talk about the reason why we sponsor at TRPN. And I'm going to hand it off to Jarrett.
Thanks, Jennifer. And I just want to say I'm just proud and humbled and excited to be here and represent all the employees of Three Rivers Provider Network. Actually, I got the opportunity of meeting Caitlin in 2017, and she's an inspiring young lady. And I remember she shared with us after the ride, we were all kind of tired from the 100 miles we just ridden, and she talked about what her hearing aids meant to her, and that was the first time she heard a bird sing a song, and it was inspiring. And those are the stories you get, and one of the reasons we do what we do. And this is really, well, I get to speak about this. The founding sponsor is really Jennifer Roberts sitting next to me here. But just a little bit about TRPN, for those of you who don't know us, we were founded in 1996, and we're the largest and fastest growing proprietary provider network in the United States. And why this is important and how this relates to the foundation is we cover and engage more than 200 million individuals through our network, through our TRPN network. And why this matters and why it's so important to us that we give back is our company's commitment to service and giving back to those communities where we work and live. And it really is something that was ingrained early in me, but my parents, and the importance of recognizing how and being grateful for what we have. And so I've had the unique opportunity to participate in this ride for the last 4 years, and the children and families that I've gotten to meet have I think I've gotten more back than the little I've been able to give through fundraising, through corporate sponsorship. And that's where I think the biggest thing we can do is raise awareness and let people hear our story. The kids will inspire, but then I think we can give back through sharing with all of you what it is we do, why we're here, and how it aligns to our corporate objectives of giving back, again, the communities we work, not only where we work, but as Jennifer mentioned, where we live. And, you know, it's something that I'm humbled and proud to be a part of and carry on this great legacy that was started with the foundation and has really been led by Jennifer Roberts. So with that, I'll pass it back over to Jennifer for our next sponsor.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jared, so much for the kind words. And I'm going to now pass it on to Executive Vice President Yousef from Zealous, who has been our presenting sponsor for a couple years now. Thank you so much for all that you do, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Next.
Thank you, Jennifer and Jared. So hi, everybody. I'm Yousef. I'm one of the legacy co-founders and now EVP of Enterprise Development at Zealous. For those of you not familiar, Zealous is a healthcare and financial technology company really focused on bringing innovative solutions to payers, providers, and consumers. And similar to just what Jared and Jennifer had said at Zealous, you know, we really are committed to actively seeking out organizations to support and serve the communities in which we live and work. And in fact, we created Zealous Gives Back. It's our sort of philanthropic program that supports these efforts and those organizations that align with Zealous's vision, value, and purpose. And you know, our commitment and support helps show the world like we care about giving back and helping make healthcare more affordable for all of us. I think it's truly in our DNA. And hearing the story of Kaylin and actually seeing that video, it's just one of the phenomenal sort of outcomes that can come out from an organization, you know, such as the Children's Foundation. And that is one of the key foundations that we support through this initiative. Zealous has been a sponsor of the United Century Ride, I think, for the past 4 years, as well as a sponsor of the Velo Vines rides, and we're thrilled to continue our support in partnership with United Healthcare Children's Foundation. I personally look forward to virtually riding with each of you. Wish we could be doing it in person, but we will do it. We will do it virtually and happy, albeit whether it's through Zwift or on your trainer. But really want to thank you all for inviting us to participate and seeing the outcome of this, again, just this tremendous organization.
Great, thank you so much. We appreciate your partnership here at Velo Vines, especially in this year that we are all virtual. It really means quite a lot. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to speak a little bit about the history of Velo Vines and how it got started. So I've been participating with United Healthcare Children's Foundation for probably over 10 years now, and I've served on the Western Region Board, I've attended events, I've sponsored events, and really to make my experience come full circle, I was inspired to host an event, and partially inspired by two people. One was Jeff Meyerhofer with the Century Ride, and one was Scott Otto, who's on the call today. As some of you may know, you know, not only do I work here at TRPN, but my husband and I have a small winery in Healdsburg, California. And my husband is an avid cyclist. So when I saw Jeff's ride and we started participating with Jeff's ride, I realized this would be a great way where not only I can tie in what I do for work, but also tie it to what I do at home and what inspires us as a family. And so we talked to Scott, and he said, well, you've got that big parking lot. I think that we can do, and we have a cycling team. I think that we could, you know, put together a ride. So in 2015, we started our first ride with, I'd have to say half of it was probably friends and family, which I'm very thankful for their support. And over the years, it's grown to mostly people I don't know, which is hopefully a good sign that it's continued to grow and inspire people to come out and participate to raise money for these medical grants that are so important to so many people, and also do something that's good for themselves at the same time. In that time, we have raised look at my notes here, but we've had 266 participants between 2015 to now 2019, and have raised over $500,000 to date. And we're pretty close to our goal of raising $150,000 by November the 14th, and hope that we can get there as well. And we, with that, $500,000, we've roughly that's equals about 460 some odd medical grants that we've been able to provide for families in our community. So it's just been something that's been really rewarding and a lot of fun to me. And I'm excited to have all of you guys here that are virtual be able to participate in a little bit of this virtually, and hopefully someday all of you will have the opportunity to make it out to the wine country so that I can host you in my backyard. And my husband can show you the beautiful roads, the backcountry roads of the wine country. So with that, our virtual ride, there's a lot of different options that you can participate this year and different incentives to participate. There's going to be a 25-mile and a 62-mile predetermined route available not only in Healdsburg, California, North Carolina, at Wayzata, Minnesota, for people to participate, or for those who would rather stay indoors, we have a Zwift option that if you would like to participate with that, you will have to download the Zwift option. And we'd like to encourage people to ride in teams, so they can, when you ride in a team, it allows you to rack up those miles, and whatever team gets the most miles, that will be the first ever UHCCF Velo and Vines trophy that will be sent to you. And of course, the bragging rights, which are probably more important than that. With that said, too, it's something that I don't know, I've done in the past, and I don't know if I've talked to the team about it, talked to Scott and UHCCF team, but the single individual who raises the most money for the ride, Arnett Roberts will be sending them a case of wine as a thank you for raising the most dollars, too. So another incentive there to ride. Yeah, and there's different incentives for riding depending on how much you raise. I had them here, and I can't find them. Here it is. So if you register for $50, you receive a 2020 Hope Rides T-shirt. If you raise $100, you receive the T-shirt and a long sleeve T-shirt. You raise $250, you receive the T-shirt, the long sleeve T-shirt, and the Velo and Vines jersey. And then at the 500 level, you will have all of those things with a launch box with some exclusive swag. So keep the good fundraising going, because I know that you're going to want those incentives. They sound pretty good to me. With that, I would, if you have any questions, please reach out to Peruse or Scott or myself, and I can help answer those questions. Scott, I'd like to introduce next a person that has been a support of Velo and Vines from day one, and without him and his team, Velo and Vines would not have been possible. When I first decided to do this, I just said yes, and I really had no idea what the logistics meant. And I'm very thankful for Charles, Aaron, and Raleigh Cycling for helping me throughout the years streamline Velo and Vines. And with that, I'd like to introduce Charles Aaron, who will be talking about Raleigh Cycling and introducing our pro rider.
Hey, Jennifer, right before you introduce Charles, do you want to introduce Wine Country Oliver?
Oh, yeah, that's right, I forgot. So TRPN and Arnett Roberts we are also doing an Oliver Bear. And so it's a Wine Country Oliver Bear. And in the picture, you see some of the things that you will get, but there's also more. There's a whole collection of wine. There's a $250 gift certificate to Picayune Cellars. There is a wine tasting if you make it out to Sonoma County with a cheese pairing. You get the Red Yeti glasses, some books. The one book in there, the Margaret Madavi sketchbook, is signed by Margaret Mondavi, who passed away a few years ago and was my husband's grandmother. So that's a unique item. She didn't do that for too many people. And the value of the Wine Country Oliver is well over $1,600. So keep your eyes out for that, and bid often, and bid large. So.
And Jen, the bears are big. For those of you who don't know, those are Magnum bottles, correct? Those aren't just regular.
Those are Magnum bottles, and then there's 6 other 750 milliliter bottles that will be coming with that as well from other wineries in our community. With that, I will pass it on to Charles.
Hi, everybody. Great to hear you. Jennifer, thank you for the very kind words. That's really nice to say. You mentioned Oliver. I got Oliver right here. The newest addition to the Circuit Sport team and the rally cycling team. He's sitting here absorbing everything. We also are doing a fundraiser, obviously with Oliver, that we're including all cycling jerseys, things like that, and actually one of the UHCCF bicycles that we're pretty excited to get out there. So thank you for including us on this. Oliver, are you going to sit here and learn about the bike ride? He's just nodding his head. You know, I just want to say thank you. You know, we're super grateful to be a part of this. You know, it's interesting. This is my fifth ride, I think, we're going to go on. We were there at the inaugural ride, I believe, and I have to say we were missed. We missed coming to Healdsburg and seeing everybody in the springtime, but very excited to do the virtual ride and get out there and be a part of this. You know, for me and everybody at Rally Cycling, this is something that means a lot to us. Obviously, bicycles, children. I think every event that I go to, I get to meet the most extraordinary children, like Kaylin and her family. The parents do. They're just people to get to know and to see them over time grow. I've been involved with UHCCF for many years, and to see year 1 turn into year 5 and see them grow and go to college and things like that, it's very rewarding to all of us that's involved. So this is just a remarkable organization, and I'm very proud to be associated and humbled by the fact that we can be part of it and contribute in the manner that we do. For those of you who have not attended, I have to say this has become something that's been very important to us, not only as a team, but our family as well. There's many ways to participate. You know, hopefully going into 2021, not only will we be doing virtual, but we'll be doing this in person as well. And certainly riding, as someone who knows, if you know me, I enjoy riding my bike quite a bit, but there's other ways to participate. And certainly within our family, Karen's parents have come and volunteered. We've had children volunteer. We've had children participate. Actually, it came to Velo Vines. All 3 children came, and it was quite a family experience for us. And we have the picture hanging downstairs in our home. So very, very meaningful, not only the Velo Vines event, but all the events that are associated with this. So it's something very important for us throughout our lives here. Personally, for me, we have a lot of friends. We've made a lot of friends, and it's just great to see everybody here on this call as well, because unfortunately we're in the situation that we're in. I'm just trying to think, you know, some other things that come to mind. You know, having our athletes participate is something also very, very important to me personally and everybody involved. And hopefully, maybe this June we'll have some more athletes join us. But you know, Adam can talk about this. When you're racing your bike, you think about performance. You're very focused, things like that. And one of the experiences that we had at the Tour of California, I want to say last year, was have a family come and join us. And it was just great to see our athletes after a very long day. Actually, we won that day, so there was a lot of chaos. Spending time with the family, interacting with the family, and of course, the children. The children that UHCCF has spent a lot of time, energy, and resources to help bring about some excitement to their lives. To see these athletes connect with them and spend time with them, it's very important to me to have them involved in this ride. Obviously, you know, Adam, you'll speak about this, but when you're done racing, you know, to meet kids that love bikes, and that's the beautiful thing about this. I love seeing the kids on the bikes. But to give them a smile or make them smile or give them some excitement throughout their day, it's very important to us. So we're very humbled. We've been a part of this for a long time. We're not changing direction. We want to continue to grow with UHCCF, and we're just excited to get back on our bikes next year and hopefully see everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charles. We'll all be back on the bikes, and we'll all be able to be together again in Healdsburg. I like to hear that. Now I'm going to pass it on to Jarrett and Adam for the question and answer part of the program, which is yeah, I'm excited to hear all this fun stuff about what Adam's experiences are and his advice. So. Pass it on to you, Jarrett.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. And it's exciting for me. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to be talking with Adam de Vos today. For those of you who don't know, Adam is the reigning Canadian road champion. He joined rally cycling in 2016 and won races at Langkawi in Malaysia and Haifasen Grand Prix in Austria. Adam was born and raised in Victoria, British Columbia, and is one of the team's most dependable and fiercest competitors. So, Adam, thanks for joining us today and being here and talking with me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I'm a little sad we couldn't do it in wine country because I do enjoy my wine. So, Jennifer, I'll have to talk to you and find out about your winery. So see if I can find it at the shop in Victoria.
Yes.
Well, Adam, as someone who's a passionate novice, we all have unique backgrounds and experiences that help us shape our careers. So as a professional cyclist, was this something you always knew you wanted to do? Did you, as a 3-year-old, say, I want to be a professional cyclist? How did you find your way to this career?
No, I had always done kind of endurance sports since a young age. I was a swimmer from about 6 or 7 years old till I was 16 or 17, so 10 years of time in the pool, and I just kind of came to the end of that, and I didn't take up cycling actually until I was about 17 years old in my last year of high school, so I guess that's 16 or 17. And at that point, I kind of just didn't know how far I'd go with it. I started doing our provincial team camps, and then eventually later that year I went to Junior Worlds, which was kind of a fun experience. That was in Denmark, so that was my first kind of taste of traveling to get to race my bike, and from there it kind of just took off. And then kind of when I thought it might turn into a career was my last under 23 year. I went again to under 23 Worlds, and I was 9th place there, and the next year I signed with Rally. So yeah, that was kind of my path into the sport and becoming a professional.
So was that the moment, was there a certain event where you felt like you had this moment? You were building over time, but was there one moment where you said, I have the stuff to be a professional rider, or was it just the kind of confidence of building over time? I'm curious if there was an aha moment when you said, I've got the stuff that makes, allows me to do this.
I think it was kind of all of 2015, that season. There was just kind of a progression of different results, and that's when I began speaking to Jonas about joining the team, and yeah, it was just kind of results building on each other and gaining confidence, and it just kind of culminated at Worlds, which was the last race of the season. So yeah.
Cool. So I think many of us have actually seen the Rally jersey, which is orange, but looking behind you, you have a very unique red with a maple leaf Rally jersey. Could you kind of explain what that's all about?
Yeah, so the kind of unique thing in cycling, which I'm sure some of the participants will know, is that each national champion of each country has kind of a special designated jersey, which is a variation of their own team's jersey. So yeah, our creative director, Sam, has come up with this design, which I really like. It's quite unique. And yeah, I get to wear this in all the road races I do for, well, it would have been 1 year, but our nationals was actually canceled, so now it's going to be 2 years. So it's kind of a bonus for me.
Cool. So do you feel added pressure? I mean, what's it like? I mean, for those of us that don't get to represent our country on a day in, day out basis with our job, do you feel added pressure? What's it like?
Yeah, I think anytime you're kind of in a position where you're singled out or you're kind of unique in some way, there's always going to be like a couple more eyes on you. But for me, I kind of put my best foot forward in every race, and I'm always trying as hard as I can. So it's not too much different for me. But of course, yeah, you want to represent your country. As a Canadian, it's kind of special because there's not a whole ton of Canadians participating in these races in Europe that we're doing. So yeah, as far as pressure, I wouldn't say it's an added pressure, but I think it's more of a responsibility just to represent your country.
Excellent, thank you. So, there's no getting around COVID. I mean, everyone's feeling the impacts of that, from, a lot of us working at home to the social distancing. And I think what's unique is you kind of mentioned it. I mean, cycling is, the world is your office. It's a sport that has elements of team, but also individual performance. And so I'm curious how you are dealing with the new normal. How has COVID impacted your training? Can you share with us what that's like in this global pandemic world?
Yeah, I think for me, the most difficult part is just kind of the uncertainty of moving targets and all this kind of stuff. You never know if races are going to happen, if they're going to be canceled. So the way it affects training in that way is kind of, you just have to be more ready to adapt, which is something maybe I'm not the best at. I kind of like to have like a more set in stone approach. But yeah, I think like you said, it's kind of something that everyone deals with. So it's a level playing field, and not just sports, but everything. So I think everyone probably on the call can kind of appreciate it.
All right. So, obviously as a professional cyclist, you spend a significant amount of time training on a bike, but are there other things that you do during the season or maybe in the off season that helps you stay in a professional shape and professional form?
Yeah, I think kind of during the season, it's more focused just on riding, and then kind of core exercises to keep your body strong and resilient, but you're mainly focused on riding. And then in the winter, it kind of allows a little more time to explore other cross training. So this winter I've been, well, towards the end of the fall, I was playing some basketball with my brother, and now he's a boxing coach. So I've been doing some boxing with him, and he's taught me a few things. It's not quite hockey, so I don't think I'm going to need to use it in it during any bike races, but you never know. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but that's been kind of fun. And then myself, I've been lifting, doing some weight exercises, again, core plyometric stuff like box jumps for kind of explosive type power, and then yeah, just keeping stretching and all that kind of maintenance type work. So yeah, it's a lot to do in the off season, but it keeps you busy and keeps it kind of fresh.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things we've learned then is, we always want you, if you're riding, ride with Adam, because if you get into a scrape, you've got the boxing skills out of any situation.
Yeah. Maybe I think it's probably best for maybe training, dealing with aggressive drivers. Maybe that's where my niche is going to be.
Okay. Well, in non-COVID years, you're spending a lot of time on the road with teammates at races, representing rally cycling. And so I think we all know, especially with some of the long tours, you're burning enormous amounts of calories. Do you have a post-ride meal or post-tour event meal that you guys have? I know I used to hear that the rally women, when they were in the tour of California, would go to In-N-Out Burger. So is there something you have, a tradition or a meal that you focus on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think with training, it's kind of, after a ride, it's kind of what you can throw together pretty fast if you're pretty hungry and cold and just want to shower, especially in the winter. But after races, it definitely depends. But one of the nice treats we usually have after a stage race, our soigneur Jose will usually get us a bunch of pizzas to have in the team bus after. So that's kind of a nice treat to look forward to after a hard stage race. And then, yeah, a lot of the time after a stage races can be quite a whirlwind with mechanics, kind of like packing up equipment and cars going every which way to different airports or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of just nice to spend an hour or two in the bus just having pizza with the team after a race like that.
Yeah, I bet. Being able to focus on pizza while 8 hours of riding, it must be nice to focus on the goal at the end of the day.
Totally.
So do you have a favorite tour or race that you've gotten to participate over the years? I mean, we all see the Tour de France on TV, but is there something that's resonated with you in terms of where you've gotten to ride or compete in?
Yeah, for sure. I think my favorite race probably is the Tour of California. I've done it 3, maybe 4 times. I don't fully remember, but my parents have road trip down from BC every year. I've done it to watch the whole thing from start to finish, so that's always pretty special. I got one of my kind of first big results on rally there, getting second at one stage, and they were there to see that, so that was pretty, oh, sorry, that's falling, special for me. Yeah, and then there's different races in Europe. The Offseason GP in Austria, which I won, was, again, super cool, just based on winning, which is cool. And the people we met in Austria were just really, really friendly and nice and made us feel at home there. So that's another one. Langkawi, again, the fans are amazing. They get really into it, and everyone wants a photo and all that. And again, I won a stage there and led the race for a few days, so there was quite a bit of fanfare, which makes you feel special. So those are probably my top ones. And then another race in Belgium, the GP Wallonie. We did this last year, and the climb they used to finish the race is a cobbled climb, a couple kilometers. And one of my first under 23 races in Europe I did with the national team. We did an amateur race that finished on the same climb, so it was kind of a neat throwback to my earlier riding days.
Awesome. So you mentioned the Tour of California. I think it's a 7 or 8 day race, and some are kind of single stage races or single day events. What's the mindset like for you? I mean, obviously 7 days versus a day has got to be a challenge to switch your mindset to what you need to do.
Yeah, I think it's kind of different for different riders. If you're a GC rider in a stage race, you're gonna have to be really focused every day. Just making sure you're kind of on the ball every day. Whereas a rider more like myself might have some days they're really targeting, and other days that they just kind of have a more relaxed day. Whereas a single day race is just gonna be more intense from start to finish. It's just kind of like, think of all the intensity of a week-long race kind of compressed into one day. So it's a bit of a different animal, really. And a lot of stage racers maybe don't like the one days, and I would say I probably prefer them. So yeah.
Cool. All right. So I think we're all aware that many, professional cyclists shave their legs and arms. Is that like purely for aesthetics, or is it just the peer pressure of everyone else is doing it, therefore you got to do it? What's that all about?
I think it's a little of both. I think it's aesthetics. There's the kind of just unwritten rule of you got to do it, and you would stand out if you didn't. It's also when you're getting massaged every day, it's help to the soigneur and you, where they're not kind of pulling on your leg hairs and making their hands numb at the same time. And then also maybe the most important reason is if you crash and you get road rash all over your legs, it's gonna just be a lot cleaner to clean out the wounds and all that if you have shaved legs. So yeah, there's a number of reasons. I would say on average, most amateur kind of hobby guys probably do it for aesthetics, which is totally fun. It does look better, of course.
All right. Well, I may have to do that. I've avoided thus far, but maybe I'm just going to have to buck up and do it.
My legs are hairy all winter, so.
Okay.
You got leg warmers on, no one's going to see anyway.
You mentioned road rash, and That's something that obviously there's the physics of that, but can you explain that? Because it's more than just the abrasion. There's almost burning that's going on, right? When you crash, especially at the speeds you guys as professionals are going?
Yeah, so road rash, you're basically creating enough friction between your skin and the road that you're kind of burning and scraping it at the same time. So it's quite painful. You can even get road rash through your shorts or your jersey. It doesn't even necessarily need to tear, which is kind of phenomenal. And yeah, it's quite a painful experience. Most of the nerves on your skin are right at the surface, so you're kind of scraping all of those off, and then of course you have to get in the shower after the race and scrub all the dirt out of it. So you're kind of going through it twice, and then again it doesn't end there because you have to deal with sleeping on it and your clothes sticking to your wounds and rebandaging it. So it's almost probably a 3-week process once you get it to when it's mostly or fully healed. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, actually, you mentioned something next like you talked about sleep, and I was thinking about sleep hygiene. And, you know, as a professional athlete, you're always looking to perform at your best. But you kind of mentioned, given that the office is your world, I'm assuming you're on constantly changing time zones and different rooms and hotels. What's it to try to maintain a sleep schedule? Do you just become great at sleeping anywhere? How do you manage that and compete at the highest level?
Yeah, I would say I'm a little lucky to be able to really sleep anywhere. I can fall asleep, yeah, on a plane, in a car, pretty much anywhere. But like you said, it's kind of important to make that adjustment as quick as possible. I mean, yeah, everyone kind of knows the drill for changing time zones, what you want to do. It's just simply a matter of sticking to that and shutting your phone off or getting to bed at the right time and all that. I would say probably the most jet lagged and tired I've ever been was going to Malaysia. It was probably over 24 hours of travel to get there. So by the last leg of it, I was just in zombie mode.
Wow, and you won a stage, right, during that race? So even with the disruption, you were still able to bring your best. That's awesome.
Yeah, and covered in road rash too, actually, now that you mention it.
Jeez. All right, so let me ask this, because I'm assuming inquiring minds. So while you're on tour, do you get your own hotel room, or do you have to have a roommate?
That's a good question. Another good question. So there's generally 7 riders in each race that we're doing. So there'll be two riders per room for 3 of the rooms, and then one lucky guy will get his own room. So yeah, in general, you do have a roommate unless you're the odd guy out.
Okay, well, this begs the question, so who determines those room assignments? Is there a methodology? Is there bartering and influencing going on? I'm curious what maybe some of the backroom dealings that may be going on to influence your room assignment.
Yeah, so that's kind of up to Jose, our soigneur. He'll usually arrive at the hotel early and check us in and hand us our keys. So you're kind of a little unknown till the last minute. He's generally pretty good at, you know, kind of like psychoanalyzing everything and getting the proper guys together. So it might be guys that are kind of on similar sleep schedules or good friends, or maybe if you're feuding, he might put you together to kind of squash that. So yeah, he likes to like play the puppet master like that, and he's pretty good at it, so can't complain.
Awesome. So obviously you spend a lot of time with your teammates. You must learn quickly about the individual personalities. Would you mind sharing, you know, maybe some of the more interesting one, who's always late, you have a big eater, you know, go-to person for power chords and whatnot? Can you share some of the more interesting things about your teammates?
Yeah, I think, yeah, everyone's kind of got their own unique thing. Biggest eater is probably Kyle Murphy, which is kind of crazy because he's one of those guys that's always eating, and he's the skinniest guy in the room, so I'm sure everyone knows someone like that. And then let's see, if I needed to borrow a power cord, I'd go to Mateo. He's always got all the adapters and cords and power bars and extra gadgets, so he's always reliable for that. And then always late. I think everyone's pretty good now. We used to have Evan on the team. I think he did the Velo Vines ride a couple times, at least twice. He was definitely always the late guy, so he's retired now though. So I think everyone, you know, everyone has a slip up and is late once in a while, but in general, everyone's pretty good.
Okay, great.
Sorry to throw Evan under the bus like that. But.
Oh yeah, no, Evan. I actually got to watch Evan when he was at the Tour of California and won two stages. It was pretty inspiring. So, he was not late either of those days. So, so we did get a question from the audience, wondering how often do you ride with Zwift, or if not Zwift, do you do Peloton or another one of those items?
I kind of was a late adopter to Zwift, and during kind of the more lockdown portion of the early summer, spring, I actually did quite a bit of Zwift. I was doing like 4 or 5 Zwift races a day, and then now I maybe ride it once every couple weeks if it's really bad weather and I don't feel like freezing my toes off. I might ride it, but yeah, I kind of made up for lost time for 3 or 4 weeks and haven't really done it as much since, but that's a good question.
All right, there's 2 questions left. The first one is ankle socks or tall socks? That's quite a debate, I know, amongst riders. Do you prefer ankle socks?
I think definitely tall socks, at least to like almost where your calf ends. You gotta have socks that high, and white or black, no patterns in my opinion. No, I'm not keep it simple. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, what inspires you? I mean, day in and day out, what inspires you to ride each and every day?
I think it's just such a compatible career for me, and I really love doing it so much. And being with my teammates and seeing all different parts of the world, it's kind of, that's where the motivation comes from to work and be a cyclist, professional cyclist. It's just kind of, yeah, it's just such a great opportunity to have this as a career and make great friends through it. That was probably one of the hardest parts of the whole COVID situation, is just not seeing my teammates face to face and missing them and missing the traveling. So yeah, it's kind of been a eye-opening for that regard, not being able to do it for so long.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure getting to talk to you, as always. I look forward to being able to ride with you again soon. And, you know, good luck as the 2-year reigning Canadian road champion. So thank you again. I'm going to pass it back. Yeah, I'll pass it back to Jennifer.
All right, well, thank you very much, everybody. We're wrapping things up here. I appreciate everybody that came to participate in this today, and people that are going to be participating in the virtual Velo Vines. We're really looking forward to it. I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank our presenting sponsor for the last few years, Dallas. Thank you so much, especially during these complicated times. TRPN, of course, Optum, United Healthcare, Optum Advisory Services, Rally, who's been there since day one, and I can't do it without you, Sutter Health, Pipeline Health, Curryworks, and the Paragon Partners, who also has been participating since day one, as well as Pipeline Health. So thank you very much to all our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. And I'm looking forward to an interesting and exciting new way to experience doing a ride. So thank you again very much. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And then I think I'm going to pass that on to Scott.
Well, great. Well, thanks everyone for the time today. It truly is an honor to bring everyone together and to be a part of such a great cause. Certainly, if you do have questions, visit us online, UHCCF.org. Reach out to Jennifer, Jarrett, myself, Alyssa, others on the team. We would be glad to connect with you and talk to you about the ride, ways that you can get involved, even beyond the ride if that's of interest to you. So again, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of the afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks.